have a recording, so just for you mostly. So we will start straight away. Again, thank you for coming today and spending this evening with me. And we will talk about what quantum healing really is. I will make a very quick introduction about myself. We have people here who already know me, but mostly for the new ones. And because even my own journey is actually connected to help me explain to you about the quantum healing. So, as most of you already know, I was born with my psychic abilities activated, which means that I could always sense and see energy and the spirits, what we say, the spirit world, the energies around us. I had a natural way to sense the energy and direct it and even heal, but it had always been unstructured. I didn't know how to use it. Many times my channeling would be overwhelming. So actually, as I was even growing up in Greece, as you can hear my accent, even English, it's not my native language. I'm from Greece. I just live in Scotland the last 9 years. So Greece is a Greek, is a Orthodox Christian Orthodox country, very based and structured around Christianity and religion. So imagine how difficult this for me was to actually communicate with the people around me what I was experiencing about sensing the energy or seeing things, and it actually ended up of me having this overwhelmness of everything. And since everything was open and not controlled, I actually decided to close everything down because I could not understand why I was having all these energetic senses, what we call today psychic senses. You might wonder why I go back to this terminology of explaining about the psychic senses. It's all connected. The way that we understand the energy and the way that we see things from what we say the spiritual world is actually the quantum field. Everything is energy. So coming back to my own path, 13 years later, when the time was right for me, and at the later age, it started 4 years ago. The second activation, as I call it also in my book, for the ones who don't know, I have this is my book, Guided by Angel Numbers, and it's a really nice big book. It explains everything about the journey, the spiritual awakening journey, and also the connection with the spirit guides and all this stuff. Just a minute, we don't have anyone else. Okay, I'm back. So when the second activation happened for me after I had my abilities closed, and it happened through a room that I entered to do microblading, and the lady there had a huge collection of crystals that they immediately charged me and opened again the path for me to receive downloads, and started again explaining that I was seeing her grandma who had passed, and sharing information. After that, everything for me came very naturally. I reconnected with my abilities on energy healing, on channeling and mediumship, but this time I could understand that there was a deeper meaning behind everything. And it was not just spiritual, it was energetic. And it goes back to the travel that our own consciousness and our soul makes. And everything starts from the understanding of a bigger force of energy. We can call it the source, we can call it God, you can call it the creator, you can call it the universe, but there is an acceptance and an understanding that there is a source of energy that feeds everything with energy on our planet and on every living and non-living objects, the crystals, the rocks, everything, they are created through this energy, and they are interconnected in a way that we might not always, sometimes we can see it, see this energetic grid that connects us all, but many times we will just feel it. And this is when many of you will resonate with what I'm saying, and you will think, I can sense the energy, I can feel the energy, or I can see things. This is why everything happens. When we talk about quantum field, it's exactly this dynamic interconnection of the endlessly moving energy. Even when we say that energy is stuck, for example, on a body, we have stuck energy, or in a place, you enter a room and we say the energy is heavy, the energy, it feels stuck. In reality, energy never stops moving. It's always moving, but it's more concentrated and remains on a specific space, and that's how it creates this heaviness that many of you can feel. And it happens also on our body. Now, going back to what quantum healing really is and who can practice it. This is what we will go through today. It's also about who this path is truly for. Coming to quantum healing, we have, of course, the practitioners, and we have today, Jess is actually one of the QuaH practitioners who is now studying from the first group. Sorry, blackout. And we have also the receiver, what we could call the client. And we also can facilitate quantum healing on ourselves. So it's not always about working in pairs, like someone who is facilitating and offering the quantum healing, but it's also yourselves as individuals. You can actually activate it and use it. I will explain everything. Why I wanted to make this webinar. Now, it's really funny how I'm placed behind the hand. Um, so, quantum healing is widely spoken about, but rarely explained clearly. I want to talk about all this kind of trend that has started lately. And I understand that most of the times humans have the tendency to create labels and to create small boxes. 100 years ago, if you were saying that you feel the energy or you're working with the energy, you would be labeled as a witch. Later on, it transformed to healers, Reiki healers. And the later years, it has been transformed exactly the same thing, and has been labeled as light workers, because you work with the light, you work with the energy that comes down from the source. And now we have the quantum healers. But what exactly quantum healer is someone who is understanding that everything is interconnected, not only through the physical energy that we feel, but also through the connection of our consciousness with the source. Our consciousness and our soul, they are two different things of the same coin, the two sides of the same coin. We have the soul, that it's the essence of God, the manifestation of God itself, of the source manifested on earth. And we have the consciousness, which is the spirit that connects both of them. The consciousness is the one that can travel, can access the quantum field, the information of this downloading code, that it's all this connection of the energy that I explained earlier. And the consciousness can receive information, translate them, receive the messages, and also remember the previous lives that the soul has accessed. So this session will bring clarity, structure, and responsibility to the topic. So I want you to understand that it's not just a label, because you will hear, and I want you to start recognizing who is actually quantum healer and who is just placing a label because it's trendy on their social media. Okay? Now, as I said earlier, it's about working with the informational and electromagnetic field of the human system, but also of the bigger image of the universe, if you want, and the downloading code that I explained earlier. And it's about facilitating coherence rather than fixing symptoms. I have most of my friends I have 2 or 3 actually Reiki masters, and I know many people who have been attuned to Reiki. I can say all of them have no idea how to connect the channeling, the information that is downloading from this energetic grid above us with their energy healing. And this is where quantum healing comes to actually bridge this gap. And this is one of the reasons that I wanted to create this webinar. And this is actually what also guided me to create my Quantum Healing Academy of Alignment Healers, because I understood that there is something that connects everything and it's not separate. It's not separate when we talk about just sensing the energy or just receiving the channeling. One leads to the other. And that's where quantum healing happens. Oh, if you have any questions, please feel free to write in the chat, okay? And I will see it. Let me check the chat just quickly. Okay, we don't have, feel free to make any questions and stop me even by raising the hand at any moment. Now, going to a little bit more terminology things. Quantum refers to interaction, probability, and awareness. This is about the observation stage. And some of you might have heard already about quantum entanglement and the observer state. Now, this happens because, as I said, everything is interconnected from the downloading source, the endless energy, down to earth, to the animals, to the plants, to the crystals, to the rocks, to the earth itself, back to us. And everything is energy that is created through frequencies. Even us as human bodies and human as vessels that we use this energy, we are energy beings in a physical body, we emanate specific frequencies. And the way that this frequency is being emanated is because there's electricity running inside of us. That's why many times when you touch someone, you have this slight, electric shock, or sometimes with some object, there's a leaking of the current of the electricity that runs inside of you. So we are electric energy beings, and this electricity, it's pulsating and it's sending out a frequency that it's becoming a tangible energy around us, kind of tangible, that it's the aura. And because our frequency changes all the time, it goes up and down, and it's affected by our emotions, our thoughts, and our actions. That's how we have even different levels of aura and different textures of aura. And since we're talking about the quantum healing, it's not the frequency, it doesn't just change when we are here on the physical plane from the body, mind, and spirit. It changes, and from whatever the consciousness carries from from the past lives or other timelines through quantum jumpings and messages that the consciousness carries because they need to be used in this timeline here on earth. So a quantum healer, or someone who is actually understanding all this interconnection and the balance that has to be created between the body, the mind, and the spirit, is in the position of actually feel or even see what we say the aura. And the aura, of course, coming back to the emotions and the up and down frequency, it can be broken, it can have holes, it can have openings, or it can be, of course, in a beautiful, coherent flow of energy, which means that everything is working in balance. When the aura, when this energetic field around us is broken, this is when we start also having physical symptoms. Because it's like we're having a shield around us. And when this shield is affected, and remember, we create everything, this endlessly energy connects everything around us, but we are emanating our own frequency. And this shield, when it's broken, it reflects back to the physical body whatever we have created. That's why we have physical symptoms. For example, if we feel stressed, for some people it will reflect on their stomach. If you feel that you have lots of responsibilities and everything feels heavy for you, you might have the upper back feeling, that it's heavy, you bend down. But there is also, as I said, the information that comes from the consciousness blueprint. And this many times it will not show from something that is happening during the lifetime, because it's a memory, it's an information that it has been carried through another past life, through another timeline. This is where the quantum healer, through channeling, can actually understand and receive this information. And by bringing this information during the session, the quantum healer will understand why you have this pain here, for example, even though your life seems to be in balance. There is something happening and you have transferred it here. We have also energetic cords, attachment, karmic attachment, ancestral traumas. It goes way beyond that what we actually sense or even have in our mind about the trauma that it's been created here on earth. So healing happens through consciousness. Sorry, what I clicked here. Interacting with the field. It's exactly what I said earlier. So it's about understanding that the energy is not just what most of the traditional energy healing practices focus on the physical body, for example, Reiki or other energy healing practices. They focus mostly on the understanding of the energy on the physical body. And there's quantum healing coming to connect this gap. As I explained earlier, the human energy and electromagnetic field, the body functions as an electromagnetic system. It's what I said earlier, this torus of energy. I will move myself a little bit here. So we, as I said, we emanate this frequency, and actually we can control these tools of energy. We can make it bigger when we want to connect and allow communication for human souls who have passed, spirit guides, or other energy entities that we need their assistance or guidance. Or we can always shrink it just to protect more ourselves. And this is very important because when we understand how powerful we are by controlling our electromagnetic field, we can actually protect ourselves. For people who feel overwhelmed when you are outside in crowded places, it happens because your electromagnetic field is very extended. So imagine like everyone is walking and we all have this 2 to up to 3 meters away from us, this spinning ball that it has all the informations, amazing, that emanate from the source, from our consciousness, popping out from our emotions, from our thoughts, from our actions, how we treated earlier our partner, how we are thinking about how we will pay the bills. Everything, it's creating a frequency. And it goes out to this spiraling torus energy. So we walk one by the other, and we absorb this energy. When you learn how to control and shrink it, you protect yourself. And this is very important, especially for the ones who might feel the call to actually become a quantum healer, because you will learn how important it is to protect your energy. And it happens the same with your third eye. We don't always have it open because it's our antenna, We learn how to open and close it. Controlling, it's about protection. And it explains here that emotions, trauma, and thought affect the field before the symptoms appear. How healing actually happens. I will place myself here. No one can heal anyone. No one. No one can heal no one. So there's no healers. What is actually happening is there are facilitators and activators. A true healer, it doesn't just transfer their own energy. And that's where in many discussions with my friends, that they are, as I said, Reiki masters. I was explaining, and they were saying to me, how can you do so many sessions and you are okay? I do one and then I'm exhausted. I cannot do another. And can you understand that you have to channel the energy and not transfer yours? It's very important to understand that the healer is never using their own healing energy, their own energy field. The light that we transfer comes from the source. So we empty ourselves, we empty this vessel, and we make it a tool to transfer the energy to the person who wants to receive it. And now I just used a key word, the person who wants to receive it. There has to be an alignment. I cannot heal anyone if they don't give me consent and if there's no trust. It's very important because many times people come to me and they say to me, Olga, I want to join the academy because I want to heal my mom or I want to heal my partner. And I'm always saying to them, you're more than welcome to join, but they will be the last to heal. I know. The reason is most of the times the people that they already know us, they don't easily trust us with this new identity that we have as a healer. You are progressing, you are developing, your understanding is expanding. Is expanding to something new, something bigger. And now you have a new identity that it's very difficult to be trusted. This is the key. Trust. Someone has to trust you to allow you to heal them. And this is very important. Okay? So I'm not saying that you cannot, of course, heal your people, but they will be most probably the last ones that they will trust you for this. Now, we're going back to the alignment. The healer creates the conditions for the system to regulate and reorganize. For example, even myself, when I'm doing the sessions, okay, the first thing that I receive is the trust from the client. Everyone, almost everyone who is communicating with me, especially the ones who don't know me, they will say, Olga, I don't know what happened. I saw you. I was scrolling on TikTok. I was scrolling on Facebook, and I just saw you, and I felt something like a connection. And I like the way that you talk or what you were sharing. And I thought that maybe I should come to you for a healing. What is happening there is an alignment. I have set it the intention to connect with people that will resonate and will align with my energy. And the other person is finding this balance. Our frequencies are aligned. It works both ways. They trust me and I trust them. So it works both ways. It's not just me offering the healing and it's not just them coming from curiosity. There is something, an alignment happening there on the quantum field. The information is being aligned. There's no coincidence. So once they come to me, for example, speaking from practice, from experience, there are specific conditions that they are created. And you have to create a safe space for someone to be open. And this is only created when you are authentic. When you are authentic, and I have people that they come in my studio that I'm here, and the minute that they step their foot inside, they start crying. There is a safety. There is an instant openness. And this is huge because it instantly creates a safe space for release. So prior of me accepting someone to receive the healing, I have created the conditions. I have shown that I'm authentic. That's me with my weird accent, with no makeup, minimal makeup. That's me. My hair, I didn't even fix them. I will speak truth. I will show you what I do, and that's me. So when someone resonates, they already feel safe. And when they enter the space, either by face to face or even online, they will have this sense of safety. And this opens the path because now you can actually, they open the path. You can receive information for them. And I will make now a parenthesis. When we receive the information, I have a class in school. If you want to join me, just let me know. This is about understanding how to receive the messages. We have 9 different ways to receive the messages. Sorry, we have 2 people that wanted to join. Um, Hi everyone, for the ones who joined right now, we have started, but don't worry because I will have the recording of that, okay? So once this alignment is being created, please keep your cameras off, thank you. And the safety is created. The person who comes to the healer opens the path. And now you can, as a healer, for example, you can receive this information, the download, why they came to you. Many times they will not know. And the information will come unbiased through one of the 9 clear senses. You see how beautifully everything is connected? That's why I made the QuaH Academy, because I understood that in order to heal someone, the first step is to understand and feel the energy. But there has to be a coherent influence and interconnection, that something goes deeper than just sensing the energy or just addressing the issue on a physical state. Many times, as I said, the information comes from way, way back, from a past life, from a trauma that that they don't even remember from their childhood. And we don't, of course, we don't play therapist here. We address the problem itself in the way that it has been translated on the body or on the emotions or as a distress. So there has to be an alignment between the person who is offering the healing and the person who is receiving. And then the path opens. And as I said, what actually the healer does is assisting the client to release. Whoever goes for healing, they do the healing themselves. Because, as I said, they allow themselves to be more vulnerable. They open through your trust, through your authenticity. They open the path. So because they offer this, they allow this release, it goes out of their electromagnetic field. And then, of course, the healer will assist in regulating the energy by moving it, moving out whatever else they will sense, and closing to rebalance. That's the job, that's the role of the healer. The role of spirit guides. And I want now to open a new parenthesis, because this has been a huge part in my life as well. Remember when I talked earlier about seeing things and hearing spirits and everything from when I was young? It took me, I will be 48 in a few days. It took me all those years, almost 40 years, I will say, to understand that these voices, uh, except from the human souls, of course, and, something that it was normal to hear, it was my spirit guides. We have to understand that through this source, through this bigger force of energy, there is a hierarchy of different types of energy entities that they operate on different frequencies, different dimensions. We are in a multiverse. And this goes beyond religions. It's about understanding why you hear this ear ringing. Your own frequency is aligning with another being's, another entity's frequency. That's why you receive information later. It opens the path for you to receive information. So when I really started understanding and I made the question, who is talking to me? Who is this? I started with meditations. I built them up. Deeper meditations, longer meditations. So there was a point that I actually made the question, why am I here? Why I have to see and receive information and sense the energy? What's the point? And then they told me to speak. And I was like, just that? Speak? What's that? Don't expect to have long conversations. Most of the times they will give you just hints and then you have to trust yourself and expand the information or start asking for more. And I started talking because that was the guidance I received. So I started talking about my experience as a psychic medium, through my journey, through the difficult parts, how I closed down and opened. And after a while, I made again the same question. And I was like, I did that. What else? Is that all I need? Like, if that's my role, to bring relief and healing through channeling, because even channelers bring the healing through the information that it's been transferred through the message. You bring relief to the soul, you bring relief to the person who you are sending the message. Is that all? I can accept it, I just want to know. And then I heard heal. And the same minute, my whole body started shaking. And I became emotional. An experience that I think we have Jess here. Jess. So Jess is actually, I will ask her to talk about her experience later, has received an activation of her energy healing. Going back to my experience, the minute I started shaking, my hands lifted up on the air on their own. It was like an external force. And I started creating, I don't know what it was happening. It was so intense. I lost track of time. I lost track of what was happening. When I brought myself back, actually, it was so intense that because I was crying at the same time, my own crying woke me up from the deep state of meditation. I understood the connection of the channeling with the energy, healing energy movement. And I started practicing it. And almost 2 years later, I combined everything and I structured my quantum alignment healing, the way that I also teach it in the QuaH Academy. So I'm trying to say that the spirit guides will give you information and guidance about your path. Very important to start understanding that they don't guide you in a way of overriding your power, even through the healing. They are not the ones who do the healing. They are there just to protect you whilst you're working, or activate you, or give you extra information. I have a friend. She's also into all of this stuff, but she doesn't believe in spirit guides. And she was saying to me, I feel so powerful that I believe that I can do everything on my own. Why would I need spirit guides? And it was that missing point. You can do everything on your own, but there are moments that you will realize that there are bigger external forces that they try just to assist you, not to be over you. They are your team. They are with you because they can actually bring more information. They can activate you once you are ready. So sometimes we have just to allow ourselves to understand the bigger forces out there. And I'm coming back that this is out of religion. But I will make a parenthesis. I will open a parenthesis here. Because I also do the quantum hypnosis and I guide people to go back to their Akashic records and remember their past lives. Many times the spirit guides will come to you in the form that it's more easily for you to accept. Because I have guided people all over the world, people will come to me that they are already in a specific religion. So for example, I have cases that they are Buddhist. So their spirit guides, the first image that they will show to them will be someone that it resonates with their existing knowledge and experience. And when we dive later inside, they will see the true image of their spirit guide. The same with Christians. Many times I have cases that they were stuck because they were just accepting their consciousness to see the form, the manifestation of their spirit guide in a form that they could understand, like a specific saint. And it's then a small step that you have to take even deeper and break this through and be ready to say, I'm ready to receive the true form without influencing everything from my own perspective and my own experiences. And it happens the same when you want to actually see your past lives or your true form. Remember your real name, your soul's name. You have to be ready to break through these restrictions that we have all learned to, and condition around us. That's how our life has been structured. So the spirit guides, very important connection for the quantum healing. Now, different types of healers, and this is my own perspective, of course. Okay, just take whatever resonates with you, and you can do your own researches. I have the same. I have talked about the same subject. My understanding is that everyone can heal. Everyone has psychic abilities. But of course, specific psychic abilities and specific types of healing will be, naturally activated because they come from your consciousness blueprint. It's your own soul's journey so far. How I understood my abilities is when, again, through a meditation, I asked to see my path, my origins, why my path is like that, from where I'm coming from. And this is how I saw that I'm from Sirius B. And what I'm doing here is what I was doing on Sirius B. I was also a guide. So my consciousness chose to bring, in this specific timeline, the abilities activated. So on a specific time that I would be ready, and I was not ready back then when I was thinking that I'm a witch because I feel the energy and because I see things. I was not ready. That's why I closed down. That's why it was overwhelming. That's why it was unstructured. But now, through my experiences, and because the right time came through my own healing, my frequency got raised, everything got aligned. I will talk about the inner healing because it's very important. But that was the moment that I started, when I started practicing, that I have specific abilities that come naturally to me. So that's how I started recognizing the different types of healers. So we have the emotional healers. These are the ones who work straight with the emotions and they help people release. If you are an emotional healer, most probably people who come just next to you, just sit by you, they open up, they speak freely, they will talk about their problems, they will feel instantly safe. Just to recognize if you have any of these types. Also, don't stuck in one type. You can literally combine many different types of healing. Okay, it goes back to how your consciousness and your soul has traveled through the lives. Physical healers, usually the ones who feel more tangible, the energy, and these are usually people who start by practicing massage, and then they later on move, to yoga, anything that has to do with the physical body. Activators, they are the ones that they actually can help and guide other people to activate abilities through consulting, through energy healing, opening the path through channeling. But the activators, they open the path so the other person can actually do the work themselves. Energy healers are the ones who usually go to Reiki or other energy healing practices because they can sense the energy and they can naturally heal. Like I have people coming to me and say, Olga, I just placed my hand without knowing on my grandma She had back pain, and she felt good right after. Like I managed to heal her. These are the energy healers. These ones are usually the ones who have the healing, but because they don't channel it and they use their own energy from their own field, they get drained very quickly. So you need structure and grounding, and to take the step forward and enter the quantum healing to bring this healing energy from the source. Ancestral, the ones who can work with hypnosis, can work with inner guidance, again, channeling in a way to guide and understand what the consciousness is carrying from ancestral trauma, generational trauma. Soul healers, the one who can read Akashic records, can actually read the soul blueprint, give guidance, do readings regarding that. Frequency healers, the ones who feel more connected to music and sound and frequency, sound healing, like with crystal balls, with tuning forks, with starship coil frequency. I activated my husband, and he is now actually a frequency healer. My husband was the most skeptical person in the world, even when he met me, because I was reading tarot and this, doing reading and everything. He was, what is that? This. I was talking to him about crystals, and he was like, these are all rocks. What do you mean? And there was the right time that it was time for his activation. And once I assisted him to activate his inner knowledge and abilities, he started out of nowhere feeling the crystals. He's now the one who, when we go out, he finds the crystals on the beach, wherever we're walking. He will be the first one to spot a crystal. He's very connected with the earth and the crystal energy. And out of nowhere, he started experiencing an inner interest and knowledge activated. And he's now making starship coil that works with frequencies and heals people. He's a handyman. So his energy was already on his hands, but he was not a healer, energy healer. He was a frequency healer. So once he made the connection, he actually naturally followed the path that his consciousness had already chosen, and it was just waiting for the right time. Plant and animal healers, these are the ones that you will feel very connected to the plants, to the earth, to the crystals. You will work with crystals. You will feel natural outside. You will talk to the plants. You will move the plants. They will greet you. They will smile to you. They speak naturally with their energy. The same with the animals. Telepathy works with animals. So if you are an animal healer, you will have telepathy, or at least at a point you will feel the calling to enhance and develop your telepathy, because that's how animals communicate. And you will know because you will have this pulling magnetic energy to kids and animals. So you will know that this is where your natural healing comes from. Shadow workers, the ones who work with breath work, usually, and dealing with shadow work and guiding someone through their inner healing, consultants, mentors, this kind of stuff. Light warrior, sorry, I bypassed channels and mediums. Channels and mediums. I was wondering myself. I'm a channeler, I'm a medium. I can receive information for individuals. I can also receive information for the collective. I have an inner knowledge, clear intellect, and clear cognizance. So how am I healer? The healing comes from the relief, because you become the vessel to transfer the message, either through the individual or through the collective, to the collective. So you offer the guidance, you offer clarity. This is how healing happens when you are a channeler or a medium. Light warriors. Difficult task for light warriors. Now, the light warriors, they are the ones who will have very naturally activated astral projection, remote viewing, and channeling, but especially the astral projection, because they literally give fight on the astral plane with the dark forces. And on the physical dimension, they become exorcists. They usually combine the earth as well, healing. Plant and animals, it's connected to the earth. The ones who can cleanse the energy when they enter a space, they can literally release the energy, the negative energy that it has been stuck, or poltergeist and things like that. Difficult job. If you are one of these, you're very needed, but it needs lots of grounding. And connectors, these are the ones who usually don't do something themselves, but they create the space for others. People who hold circles, people who work in groups, people who will offer, for example, they have the land and they don't know what to do it. There's a reason. Use it for a healing center. Use it to other healers. You are a connector. You are connecting other people through your own energy. Do you have any questions so far? Anyone? Let me check. Sorry, let me check the chat. Anyone in the chat, would you like to write any questions? Or would you like me to proceed? Nothing? Okay, I will proceed then. I will continue. If you want anything, just let me know. That's why I made it a live webinar, because I want people to make questions. Why not everyone should practice healing? I know this might trigger some of you, but I will explain, okay? Grounding, stability, and ethics are essential. Unstructured activation can create imbalance. And I'll go from the start that when it comes to healing, and I'm going to the start that when I said that it's a nice label, it sounds fascinating. Quantum healer. Wow. So what? You are just a tool. Skip the label. If you want to become a quantum healer, the first thing you have to do is cleanse your own vessel. And I mean literally cleanse by detox, grounding. It's about a specific lifestyle. Even myself, I don't drink alcohol. If I was to drink alcohol, like if someone of you wants to have a wine, for example, you would have to know that if you have a wine, maybe it's better to just transfer your sessions 2 days later to allow your body to detox. It happens the same with everything. You need to, first of all, clean the vessel to allow the energy to transfer through your body. And it goes also to the emotional state. Remember what I said earlier, the time was right because I had healed myself. Coming from an abusive family, my dad has passed, so that's why I'm mostly focused on my mom. Physical violence, emotional violence, psychological violence. And for many years, when I had all my abilities activated, I was also deep down in depression, in anxiety, in stress, in survival mode, because I had to make my living from a very young age. So it created a lot of difficulties for me as I was growing up. So as you can imagine, my frequency was very low. Low frequency and open abilities, the worst combination. You literally feel overwhelmed. You will have spiritual attacks. It will drain your energy and it becomes worse and worse until at a specific point you say enough is enough, like I did. And that's the turning point. It's a very crucial point. And I see this very often on the social media. People who say that they went through this phase and then they turned to church and they found healing there. What they did, they closed this connection. They caused fear. That's not me. I want a specific religion to guide me. And it's not about Jesus, because Jesus, we know that it was not about religion. What Yeshua actually brought, it was the knowledge exactly about this connection of our energetic abilities through the physical body, the mind, and the soul. Body, spirit, mind. Everything is connected. You have to bypass this fear. It's not about religion. Jesus doesn't belong to religion. And he doesn't have different names. You can call him Jesus, you can call him Yeshua, whatever. It's about the Christ consciousness, the teaching, the information that it was brought on earth through him and through other mentors and teachers. It was not only him. But I'm saying that because it's all about understanding the grounding, the stability, and the ethics. I cannot heal someone if I was in a fight with my husband. I'm married and I will not even have I won't have sex with my husband when I have the next day sessions. I will keep my energy. It's a lifestyle. You have to heal yourself. I healed myself. I understood the lesson behind the abusive environment and my relationship with my mom. And I healed it. And only then I was ready to actually offer the services. Could I be a healer before? I could. Yes. Would it be so effective? Maybe it was, but not for me. It would not be for me. At a point, I would turn back to the same level that I said earlier. I would feel overwhelmed. I would panic. I would feel that something is wrong. It would be unbalanced. So there has to be a specific process. A healer has to heal themselves first. Ethics, understanding that, as I said, you have to have the consent, you have to be authentic, you have to open the path clearly, genuinely, with trust. Also, unstructured activation can create imbalance. You won't believe how many messages I receive daily from people asking me to open their third eye. I won't do it. Because if I just open your third eye, or when I shared about QuaH Academy and the activation that happens during the QuaH Academy, that you activate your own energy healing. I had people telling me, oh, how can I do this? I want to activate. I will not activate your energy healer. I will not assist you in the activation because it's not actually me. Again, I'm becoming the tool to transfer the energy for you to activate it yourself. If you're not ready to understand that it's not a trend, it's a lifestyle. It's about reconnecting with your soul's path, your consciousness must have already chosen it, and you deeply inside know it. Even by you being here, deep inside, you feel this call. Something brought you to this webinar. You felt a connection either with me or either with the world healing or quantum healing. You already know. This is just remembrance. Even the information I shared about the quantum field, you already know them. I just remind them to you. And the more they get activated, the more you will receive. How inner abilities are activated. Abilities, as I said, are remembered. They are not given. That was also the thing that was triggering me with Reiki. Because, I have, as I said, I have friends who are Reiki masters. They were like, Olga, let me attune you. Let me, I will attune you to Reiki 1, Reiki 2, Reiki. I was like, something is not I don't know, doesn't stick with me. Why should I have a specific symbol, and why should I have a specific position on the hand? I feel that my energy healing is different. I have this feeling that the energy that comes from me wants to move, or I have the sense that I don't want to receive a symbol. Maybe something else is for me. Going back to your soul's origins, your own energy healing will be connected to that. When I made the activation to the class 1 in both of the groups that we had in QuaH, you could literally see that each one was moving differently their hands. They received their own symbols through their spirit guides or through their higher self by remembering. It's an inner activation. So it's remembrance. That's why I don't believe in giving the symbols. Activation comes through alignment and embodiment. You have to feel it. It has to be the right time. As I say, always, there's no coincidence. Even you, it's not a coincidence that you are here. Something has already started. But now it becomes aligned. How the QuaH method was formed. As I said, as explained earlier, it's about I wanted to bring structure, grounding, and ethics into healing work. And especially now that it has become more like a trend to be a healer. And don't disagree with expanding healing everywhere. But I strongly believe that if you just offer teaching on healing and the people who are receiving the attunement, they are not ready, they haven't healed themselves. They don't understand the structure. They are not ready to take the next step and expand their awareness and understand this collective interconnectedness with everything. It will stop eventually because it goes back that they will feel drained, they will feel overwhelmed, and then they will speak to more people. They will say, oh, I did that, but it didn't work for me, and it stopped, and I couldn't feel it, or I didn't know how to do it. So there has to be structure. And this is about grounding, ethics, and how to actually offer the healing work. And the response, of course, to confusion in the healing space, exactly like I said earlier. And because I also have experience in entrepreneurship and my studies are business and management, all of my life I have spent it in entrepreneurship and in managerial roles. So I know how to structure something. So it was only a specific point 4 years ago when my physical abilities like managerial and entrepreneurship and structuring and innovating mind came in balance with the psychic abilities and they created QuaH. So now I can actually help people to do what I do. And in QuaH, we go through all the types of healing. Now we are still on the first we entered the third module. We have been through the human energy healing, the animal, and now we work in the crystal and the plant. And we will move also on the energy. And then we move deeper to the trauma release and frequency, which is very intense. So I guide people to go through all the types of healing that I have activated. They will take the knowledge and then they will decide what they want to work on. And we go through ethics and structure, how to open and close a session. Everything is very organized. And they also have they can see some of my case studies from clients. So as I said, the QuaH training, that the one that I do, it's about understanding the energy field, grounding and regulation, ethical practice, all the different healing pathways that I said, and step-by-step integration. That's the difference with other maybe, like Reiki or energy healings that you might want to learn about, or if you want to receive, at least choose someone that knows the practice and you know that they follow a specific lifestyle. They are genuine to offer and facilitate and open the path for the healing. Who this path is for? It's for those feeling, of course, cold but unsure where to start. If you feel that it resonates with you, let me know. And those seeking depth, clarity, and responsibility. It's responsibility above all. It's about being responsible. That's why you structure yourself around offering the healing. And in QuaH now we have the tier 1, which is about mostly energy work, animal, plants, and trauma. And in tier 2, we enter the hypnosis, which is very, very crucial to understand the importance of channeling to guide the consciousness this time to receive the healing from the quantum field. The quantum field holds all the information. All you need is to create the clean pathway to access the information. And that's how quantum healing happens, by bringing alignment to body, mind, and spirit through the information. Why am I blocked? There's an information for you there. You have to find a way to access it. Why I feel that I can, like something is physically happening and I cannot address it, like where I'm always ill. Something is reflecting on your body physically that starts from something else. You just address, you see the symptom. You have to address the root, and the root might be ancestral. So, I would like actually now to invite, if she wants to talk, Jess, if you want, I'm unmuting you now,
Okay.
and I will give you, can you ask to start video so people can actually see you? There is Jess. Jess is one of our, hi Jess, hi, is one
Hello.
of our QuaH, as I said, practitioners. And in March, you will have your diploma, your certificate as quantum alignment
Hopefully.
healer.
Yeah,
Now, I know that you just registered. You said you wanted just to see what the webinar is, and I asked you if you wanted to speak. I have no
yeah,
idea if you want to share anything about your experience so far, but if you want,
definitely. Yeah, why not? Good evening, everyone. I'm Jess, like Olga said. So, my journey started a while back where I've always felt drawn to spirituality, knowing the beyond, and for some reason, the ordinary thing did not click with me. I just wanted to know things that you don't get in the books, really. So then I've come across Olga through social media. We've had a few sessions together, and I was lucky that I was sent the flyer for the QuaH, obviously to be part of the QuaH Academy, which I've debated a lot, but somehow I feel it was a calling. So eventually I've registered myself and I've joined the journey. I don't regret it one bit. I think through this QuaH Academy journey, I'm finding myself every day. I think I'm transforming. I'm on the brick where everything is changing for me. I'm knowing myself better. I'm discovering myself better. And everything that I'm learning so far through QuaH is things that I'm really interested in. So if you're somebody who is interested in energy healing, in connecting with animals, knowing your chakras, their roles, how to balance them, and how to, their roles, how to know how crystals can match with different chakras, or working with your spirit guides, for example, forming that bond with your spirit guides, then this is the course for you. But of course, like we say, it's a calling, so you will know if it's the right one for you. And through this as well, I've got to meet lovely people through this. We are only a small group, but it's like, we've known each other for a very long time. We support each other, and it's a very safe group. So there's no such thing as silly question or people will judge me. There's no such thing. And Olga is amazing as well. Anytime I've had questions or anything, I'll just message her or send an email and I will get a response back. So it's not like you'll be waiting ages for an answer to come back, nothing like that. So that's, and even the website as well, the QuaH Academy website, it's so easy to navigate as well. So it's clear, it's precise, it's concise information. The right information is there, easily to navigate. And even if there's any glitch or anything, just let Olga know. She will know. She will do her magic, and then things will go back to normal. But like I said, this is what right now I'm learning it for myself, because I think nothing else has interested me the way this course is have interested me. So everything I'm learning sort of align with what I want to know. So and I'm learning it for myself at the moment. Later on, it might develop to something else. But again, if it's meant to happen, it will happen, right? And
oh,
with yeah, you've got to believe in it, don't you? Yeah. And the other thing is through QuaH, I've got to join another small community, what we call the school community. So that's a different platform where we
yeah.
have people all around the world who is interested in energy healing, in spirituality, psychic abilities, and all these things. So again, it's a very small and safe group. You post your question every day, and the more you interact, you unlock stages, and then you and then you find yourself knowing more about dimensions, spirit guides, telepathy. So far we've done so many meditation sessions with telepathy, and even in the QuaH Academy journey as well, there's meditation there. And something I've noticed with myself now, where probably 2 or 3 years ago, where I was forcing myself to, or maybe I should start meditating or do something. But now I don't have to force. It's not a forced meditation at all. Somehow I find time for it. And I think, like we say, there's a time for everything. And I believe this is the time now. So if you guys are interested in these things, this is just the right platform, and we are all here to learn from each other, to support each other, and having Olga with us to guide us in this on this journey is just, a cherry on the cake. So I'm very grateful to you,
Oh,
Olga. Thank you for this
thank you,
opportunity.
Jess. You explained everything so lovely. Thank you so much for your
Thank
time.
you. No
People will
problem.
think that I have paid you to say so
Oh
lovely
no,
things.
no, it came from the heart.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. So for
No,
now, I will just
yeah,
close again, the camera. Thank you again very much for your
no
time. I
problem.
will also mute you. There you are. Just, I don't know, just if you close maybe yourself the camera. I don't know if I can do it. Thank you, Jess. Thank you. So for the ones, this is the webinar so far, and if any one of you has any questions, as I said, that's the reason that I wanted to make it live. Please let me know. Let me bring myself back. Um, I don't know. Spotlight for everyone. There I am. Okay. So anyone, would you like to make any questions before I just close this webinar? No? So if you want, I will also I can send you through your emails the QuaH flyer to know about the next class that it will start in March. But until the end of January, I have actually an early bird offer of 40%. It's 40%, it's almost half price. So I will just send you the flyer if you want to register to QuaH. If not, take the information you took from here to actually use them either for you and later on maybe you feel the calling to become a quantum healer, or you can just use the information so you safely identify maybe a quantum healer that you want to work with, that what their work is based on. Okay, so thank you everyone for being here. And I will also send the recording on a link on the email. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.